for some reason, the mill will not be here tonight, so put it off. So we will not be dealing with the mill. So we'll be dealing with subdivision. Cindy, why don't we start there with the subdivision? Here's where we're at with this. We really, tonight, we can only do like, we do have your seeker application. We have to declare the planning board lead agency for the seeker application. We have to do a public hearing on April 12th. I think the date is set. We'll do a public hearing and then vote on it. So it had to play out this way because we didn't have enough time to do public notice. So that's what's happening. So somebody would up here will look at the property and somebody will declare. Actually, we have your seeker application already. You do. Yeah. So we do,
but the application is for the rezoning. It does not mention subdivision. And you'll notice here that it says property involves legislative adoption of local law, yes. 2, does the proposed action require a permanent approval or funding from any other government agency in that line? And it does, because we are the other government agency for the planning board. So I'm wondering whether this needs to be updated to, this isn't a secret document for subdivision, it's for the rezoning.
We can certainly provide a revised document.
Okay.
Can't do it right now.
No,
I'll get it to you.
No, by the 12th, it's fine. So we would declare ourselves lead agency for the seeker. Well,
I think before we do anything else, we have to examine the application and find whether it's a complete application.
correct. So we would need to revise the seeker. We have a survey.
What they want to do is, we can find a hard surface for you to write on. You could simply mark this up.
Okay.
And then give us a good looking copy to mark. But this is what's going to keep us from finding that it's a complete application. And I think that that could be resolved right here. Why don't we just move on to the next application and
Okay.
Arnis is marking that up.
I have a question.
Sure.
This property is currently in what zone? Zoning area?
LC,
Okay.
you talk about Baltimore now?
Yeah. And the subdivision is to create 2 lots. One lot number 2 of being size 1 acre. Is there a lot requirement size or a law for that particular zone?
Excuse me, but just a point of correction, it was rezoned, as I understand.
Yeah.
No, this is rezone condition on the subdivision approval being given.
So it would actually be,
It's LCD now, and when subdivision approval is given, then by operation of law, it becomes RPD one.
Only one, it requires 14,000 square feet.
Which is half, a third of an acre.
Right.
Okay.
And the remaining lot is significantly larger than that, is that true?
Right, but it's all acres, according to.
yes,
the-
the rezoning would be 39,771 square feet.
Right, and the remaining lands remain LC.
Yes.
Right, but I'm just, all I'm concerned about is creating a lot size that's in violation of the zoning that covers that particular piece of property. And I haven't checked anything, that's why I'm asking the question.
I just looked up the zoning, that's LC is, there is no specific dimensions on that, it's as required by special permit.
Okay.
I'll look at Clifford's Bridge.
Okay, sure, we can jump to right to Griffin's Ridge. Well, and that's a lot line adjustment. And again, Peter, what we're looking at is, because of time restraints, we have to do a public hearing, and we scheduled that for April 12th on that. So tonight, we'll look to see if the application is complete, and I guess that's as far as we can go tonight with this. And I don't think I have a seeker application.
Not that I know of.
No,
I wasn't quite clear on what
yeah,
was needed. Some municipalities that we work with, it's the administrative decision, other municipalities, it's a planning board decision. I'm not quite sure why seeker is involved, since it's an even swap between the two lots. It's strictly a modification, not a significant amendment. But I'll certainly follow your lead if there's something I have provided that you need.
I believe our local law requires.
yeah, I think it's a,
So.
So it'll be short form parts 1, 2, and 3.
Short form, part 1, 2, 3. Great. Okay. Is there anything else that we're delinquent?
anybody else have any questions on?
I'm one of the lot owners.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly fine with this. It's a very small change, 136 square feet goes to the lot next door, which Peter owns. And I get 136 feet back in the front of my house. And I gave it up in the back of my house. That's really, it resolves some issues about where the trees were planted and some of our utilities run. And
Is that what caused the precipitation of having to do the lot change?
Hmm.
The location of the trees or?
well, originally the tree was planted in what is presently the lot next door. That was, and it was a minor switch in the direction of the line, and it then takes care of those kind of issues that
Then I don't think
Think
that's.
it's utility.
That's why we're doing
the
it.
utility lines are in there, right?
Yeah.
It was just,
There's more to it than a tree,
Yes.
correct?
More to it than
there's
that.
some utility lines that were there, that
Yeah.
are there, in there, that we then end up on my property, yes.
Right, National Grid, when they installed the gas service to the home on 67. And let them go around the property line instead of in one direction instead of the other. We have had National Grid relocate lines when they make that error in the past. But the challenge, it's a very challenging process. And in this particular situation, lot 69 has a prospective buyer for it. The home fits perfectly with this change, and we concluded along with Lazar's, the owners of 67, that this may be the more preferred change than it would be just having a gas line relocated. So that is why we're here this evening.
Looking at, there's no material change in the size of the lots, they both maintain the same relative size, square
Exactly.
footage.
And if anything, the narrower lot we're improving the width of, and the wider lot's already more wide than it needs to be.
No, this is a lot line.
Minor adjustment.
I do think there's a $165 fee for a lot line adjustment.
The check was supposed to be delivered the day you and I spoke on the phone, about a week ago.
I didn't check, it could have been,
If it hasn't, just let me know.
okay.
Okay,
So there's no such thing as an easement to correct the fact that the gas line is in the wrong spot?
That is a possibility, but we had just spoke to Lazar's and felt that this was ultimately the best solution to make everything official. And the maps properly reflected what the existing conditions were underground, and not that they're visible conditions. So this is the avenue that we all agree on to be preferred.
Does this require a filing of both pieces of property with the county?
For a new map would be filed, yes, and we'll do the filing.
Since we're not subdividing, what I said before was wrong. I
Thank
do not believe that we need a secret document.
You want to go one step further and say it's an administrative decision, we're done?
No, we have to have a public hearing.
Okay. Well, that's hard to try.
I do have one question regarding, this is relates to, this probably has nothing to do, but in a change with talk about the easement, and then when you talk about the curtain drain that was there, my present backyard, there's currently an easement for that drainage, which is going to be abandoned. I know this is a slightly different topic, but where would that be discussed about? Who would it be an easement to?
Who owns the easement now?
I believe it would eventually be the homeowners association, correct? I mean, Peter, once you leave, the easement would have fallen to the homeowners association, who would have been responsible for that curtain drain, and now that's gonna be abandoned.
That easement, Tim, is not going to be abandoned. That's the easement that's going to go to the village.
Okay, so actually. Okay,
That is
fine,
unfortunate.
we can discuss that as,
I think with an easement to avoid an easement, both parties have to agree to it.
yeah,
And if you're giving it to the village, it must be with some concern about long-term maintenance of some type of drainage capability there.
Correct.
okay, so whatever, that's fine,
Yeah, they're unrelated topics.
okay. We can, if that's an issue, we can resolve it later.
Okay.
Fine.
Well,
So,
we determine
but from
whether
my
it's
standpoint,
complete,
you're like
and if
this-
so, looking for a motion that this is a type 1 action that requires no secret.
I make that motion.
A second, any discussion?
Oh, I understand.
You can.
That it's complete, right?
That it's complete, it's a type 1 act, we reviewed the application, we're identifying as a type 1 action, complete type 1 action. Sorry, it's a complete application of a type 1 super project.
Need a second.
I'm waiting for Tom to make a decision.
Not, we voted to
Thank you.
hold the board.
I got it. Okay, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Abstain.
Tim has.
And then we need to schedule a public hearing.
which is scheduled for the 12th.
Take control of that.
Want to read that out loud?
Public notice is hereby given that the Round Lake Planning Board will hold a public hearing to review lot line adjustment of tax map 250.50-1-51 and 250.50-1-50. The hearing will be held April 12th at April 12th, 2023. 6 p.m. in the community room of the Round Lake Village Hall, 29 Burlington Avenue. At which time the hearing, all persons desiring to be heard will be heard.
Peter,
Yeah,
which lots are those? Which numbers are those?
67 and 69.
You mind if I add Perkins Ridge lots 67 and 69?
you should have 6 p.m. I didn't.
Work.
It's good that you sent that
Sorry.
email this morning.
Full board.
This is your second.
Oh, this is new from our other meeting.
You just pointed people.
Oh, we'll start with you, Lance, I guess.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was expecting this was gonna be a 10 o'clock. meeting.
It's not.
It's not that.
Put in there the direction. We're done.
Okay.
Great.
We're gonna be patient, a while longer. You gotta be patient a while longer.
That's good. That's, so there's, it's all, this is just, this thing, right? This is the whole thing. I was like that, basically just.
Two people
Five, the 5 feet here, 5 feet there.
Yeah.
And you get more frontage, that's good for you.
Oh, that's your.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I think perhaps the quickest thing is for each of the board members to take a look at the markup.
This is the short form.
Yeah, this is for.
Yeah, and that's the student rate, I think.
A slow reader, by the way. Again, my belief is that every part of the village is in the is on the National Register of Historic Places.
Not, it's limited, because as far as the south side, no, the east side of Washington Avenue down to Goldfoot Road, down to, it's anything on Route 9 is not in the historic district.
I have a copy of that, Lance, so I'll email it to you.
But that's a short. I don't know.
It's just east of New York Avenue. It's not all the old, whatever that was, they called it.
No, it's just, really, I think it's, yeah, nothing beyond on Route 9. And goes down to like Ames Avenue down to, I forget the street, like Bob Sweet's house. That street. We're actually with Jack lives, that street.
High Street.
High Street. And it goes down to Goldfoot Road. So actually, technically, your house is not in the
Right.
historic district.
So we're running the association.
No. Like the property on New York Avenue was not in the historic district.
Peter, there is a dealing with the mill. There is a proposal that we've seen that would involve bringing a water line across front of this property that was discussing. Is the are these property owners aware of that proposal, and do they have concerns about that?
We were actually in a meeting with the gentleman that owns the mill and, we're aware of it and actually had some discussions about it and they take advantage of it, so. But we are aware that that water line might come down the road.
So at this point in time, you would not object if that proposal went into place
Certainly.
for the mill?
No, would be any objection on that point. It's for Xavier as to what would be an objection as to the point that the planning board might bring up during the application for the mill. But certainly not because of the water or sewer or utility being brought down the road.
Yeah, that whole thing is in blocks. I got it.
I know it's in flux, but I don't want it.
I got it. Yeah, it will go by your property because I think they haven't decided how they're gonna do it. It turns out that there's an 8-inch main. Probably, I'm gonna say less than 200 feet on your side of the street further down. It would avoid, so the mill would not have to go underneath Route 9. It didn't make, you know. It would be much easier for him to bring the water right along Route 9. Actually, it would be much easier for him to talk to you. And try to run the line on your property to avoid having to deal with DOT. Because that could be a big pain in the butt. And I think that's another concern.
And I'm an old municipal attorney and. Sure, and I'm a firm believer that whenever we can work something out and stay out of right of ways, we certainly will try to do that. So.
I don't believe there's anything else that I know of that's missing from the application.
One just quick comment I had, we're doing a subdivision. We have to provide, make sure there's access to that subdivision. It's a federal highway, actually,
Yeah, we will do that, 239 with the county.
with the county, but does the state have to issue a curb cut for them to make access into that property?
I believe the state. Well, are you sharing a driveway?
No, it's not really shake up. You drive it.
Well,
Yes, DOT would need you to approve a curb cut, but then
That wouldn't be part of the.
right now they're,
Just technical support.
they have access to the extent that they are on that road. And I don't believe there's any, that 239 requires any more than that.
Okay,
from a practical perspective, if in fact we found that we could not get a curb cut from the state of New York, and then we would have to work out an easement to the driveway that's already there along Route 9, so maybe put a water line underneath it. We looked at it, and we think we could do it, and especially since it's only a single family dwelling, so we're not talking about a project that's gonna generate a tremendous amount of traffic.
The county will be put on notice of this,
yeah,
and if it disagrees with us, the county planning board, they've got an opportunity to speak to that, but I think we're in compliance with law.
Very close.
we need a motion to accept the secret application. Or we need the application complete.
I think by deeming the application complete, you are accepting that documents.
What do you think?
Well, I think it's Lance's turn to do something. What? Hey, what? Lance's turn to make a vote.
But, to accept the short environmental form as presented to the board this evening? Yes, I'll make that motion.
Second, I'll second. Okay, any discussion? All the board?
Yes,
Yep, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Now I need a motion to say that the application is complete. Make a motion to say the application is complete and written. Second,
Yes.
discussion? All the board?
yes,
Yep, yes,
Yes.
we're done.
motion to adjourn. Oh,
Tomorrow,
wait.
the next day will be, sending our notice of public hearing to the newspaper. Will be notifying by letter the persons who own property adjacent to each of these two projects. And we'll be scanning the entire application and sending it to the county. And in the case of the subdivision, it will go to the town of Malta and the town of Malta as well.
I will, take my scribble and get it typed up and get it to you.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Tom, should it go to Clifton Park as well?
It's probably within 500 feet, of that.
Why don't we do this? I'm gonna run upstairs and make a copy of this, so that you have a copy of what you just scribbled. We have a copy.
I took this photograph, I'll text it to myself.
Yeah.
Well, if that didn't work, that's cool. You take it. Thank you. And what time is that public hearing?
6 o'clock.
Are we gonna have back-to-back public hearing?
Yes,
So maybe later this is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is the meeting officially adjourned?
No.
no,
Okay.
Thank you very much.
thanks.
Have a good night.
That was really short.
Are you adjourned?
Well, any questions for anybody?
No, I have a motion to make.
Sure.
I sent out mail last month. In January, we said that we had started a 62-day clock for the mill. We did not have a meeting in February. And we did not, and because they haven't showed up tonight, that 62-day limit will fall somewhere near the 1st of April. I move that we declare that our starting of the clock for the mills application in January, it should be terminated, and that until they show up again, we will not be starting the 62-day clock.
I think we do that by saying.
Yeah, I comment on that.
Certainly.
I'm not sure who can stop us. Since they haven't shown up. And since we're going to run to that deadline, we may want to instead deny the application. Without prejudice to renew it. If they consent to an extension of the 62-day period.
All right, I will withdraw the motion for the 62 days, and I will make a motion following Tom's lead that because they have not appeared 2 consecutive months, and because we will be in violation of 62-day clock before the next meeting, that we reject what we have in front of us, and we will reject without prejudice.
Yes.
So that they can reapply when they come to the next meeting.
Or that we can revive the current application with their consent. But
Yeah.
in your reasoning, I would like to have you add that because there are major issues that have not been resolved, such as the water.
So that's a complicated motion.
Our secretary has a lot to say.
I will remind the board, people that were here, that when we did this for Victoria Landings, we then went into an 18-month lawsuit. Because we rejected their proposal because the clock was running out.
We won,
What?
we won, didn't we?
I voted once doing it, yeah. But yes, so we have a motion then to. What is it? To deny the. Yeah,
The application operates.
play it back for us.
Deny the application.
Not touching anything. I don't want to mess it up.
We don't accept this application, it's almost, we gotta start a new clock, did we?
Did we formally accept that?
We'll negotiate that with the applicant.
Okay,
Did we formally accept the application?
yes, we did.
Yeah,
that was, I don't agree.
Okay.
Yeah, this is,
Even with the water situation.
yeah, we did, I was done.
Do we have a second?
Well, I'll second it, but I, he darned if I could repeat it.
So the motion is to deny the application.
application for the, I don't know, is there a number, Peter?
Because for the reasons that they, if I remember what you said, that
Right.
they haven't appeared in the last 2 meetings.
Yeah.
The clock has been run out, there are major issues still outstanding.
Correct.
Yes. And that's without prejudice
And the
to
denial is without prejudice.
reactivate the application on terms of very.
Yeah, that's the,
That's it.
Question is, do we get a second fee?
I'll second,
You're saying.
yeah. Discussion?
That's your second, okay.
And I was. Oh, boy.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
other news on the mill, on his parking issue, it appears he bought the property next door.
Oh, he bought it
From the park.
No,
Oh,
in Round Lake,
from Don Nickler.
oh, behind him?
no, right next door.
North or south?
where he's doing
Yeah,
parking,
next to you.
where he's doing the overflow parking?
Well, no, he didn't buy that. I guess he went and he bought the property on the left side, looking at the bill.
Oh, that's inside the 100-foot setback for the flood zone, isn't it?
I don't know what his,
But I mean, if he's gonna, well, we should.
yeah, but I don't know what his intentions are, or what, my only guess is that he probably will want to use it for parking. Yeah, I know. It's currently zoned land conservation.
But it's also within the 100-foot flood zone.
Yeah.
As is some of his parking already.
Correct. Yeah,
Would he be receptive, do you know, if he would curtail, let's say, a scheduling conflict with a banquet type facility? If it conflicts with
no, he was
his ice bar or something of
No.
other big days?
no, he would not.
Okay, and that's. You don't have to worry about that.
No. So he'll come back with, I guess. This will delay the application even more, because we made the statement that in order to. Have parking, adequate parking for, what he's doing, it has to be on the same lot. If he can't have parking on a separate lot that he doesn't own. And he doesn't have adequate parking on his lot. So he has to, he did look to go further back, to add parking further back. I don't know how viable that was. But I think that was on land that he had sold his daughter, or gave his daughter, and I don't think she'd like the idea. So anyway. That's what's coming down the pike, I think.
Well, that'll get DEC a lot more involved, both floodplain and wetland,
Yeah,
and so that'll drag that process out quite a
Yeah.
bit. Depends on who uses out.
And I thought he just wanted to be my neighbor.
2/3.
okay, if there's nothing else, meeting adjourned.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have a good evening.